and gentlemen, welcome to the nighttime show with Meg of It's Your Right. I'm just kidding. Hey, I bet you've never seen me before. My name is Meg, and I am here to tell you about how when I was in a dark time, God gifted me a hero. He sent a hero, a miracle worker, somebody to really come and just transform my whole life and really make the decisions for me that changed my life. Sent me somebody who would come in and really, heal my trauma and deal with everything for me. It was me. It was me. It was me after dealing with some difficult times, after going through multiple dark nights, after learning and absorbing a bunch of spiritual information and integrating it until I figured out what I was supposed to do. And here we are. So I want to talk to you about alchemy. Alchemy. What is alchemy? Why is it so important, and why is our society so prone to not wanting to do the deep work? Right? And what is the deep work? Well, in this case, again, talking about alchemy, spiritual alchemy. What is this? This is the process of mastering ourselves and of transforming our pain, our darkness, our shadow into light, into gold, transforming our insecurities and our weaknesses into our strengths. And so this is really the process of learning more about yourself and growing as a person. It's self-development. That is alchemy. Now, what is actually happening in this society is spiritual bypassing. Spiritual bypassing, friends. This is a huge issue. And I'm saying it with laughter, with joy, but I can only tell you this from my experience. And my experience in life has had a lot of escapism, a lot of spiritual bypassing, a lot of not wanting to face my fears, not wanting to hit things head on. In fact, it has been the opposite. It has been full of moments where I lower my voice instead of stand in my power, where I consume too many substances to try to get out of my mind so that I don't have to worry, I don't have to have anxiety, and I don't have to have the fears, the worries, or the cares, so that I don't have to actually accept responsibility for anything in my life. Because if something is wrong, if something is bad, then really, I just don't want to be here. Have I dealt with that? Yeah. So a lot of us are spiritually bypassing through escapism. Now, we spiritually bypass in many ways, right? Many ways. People pleasing. When we're people pleasing, we are actually giving them the responsibility for our own life and for our own decisions because we don't want to make them ourselves. It's too hard. It's too scary. And what if you make the wrong one? At least if somebody else makes the decision for you, you can blame them. It's all their fault. It's all their fault. I'm going to take a sip of coffee. Again, you may think I'm coming off flippant in this, but really, I have a lot of feelings about this, and it is me looking at my past self and saying, wow, she actually didn't think she was capable. Why are we escaping? Why are we spiritually bypassing? It's not because we're bad people. The truth is, we actually don't believe we're capable. We actually don't trust ourselves. We actually don't think we can do it. We actually genuinely just don't think we can do it. We think we're too weak. It's too hard. There's no way that I can transform anything in my life. And whether this be because you blame everything on the external or because you just genuinely don't trust yourself with anything, and this escapism starts usually pretty small. It's not just drugs, right? We are escaping through scrolling on social media, through going out and drinking, partying. Because when we fill up our time with anything else, then we don't have the time to deal with our struggles, and then we can just complain about them when we're having a bad day, and that makes us feel so much better, doesn't it? So a lot of us are doing it from coming home and playing video games. I mean, if you're working a really hard job and you want to come home and relax, absolutely. I mean, yeah, that's important. This is a really, really difficult life. This is a really stressful time that we live in. So yeah, please relax, but please also recognize when these things become addictions. Because when these things become addictions and you start never facing your issues, then you get stuck in a rut. You start complaining about your job, complaining about your marriage, complaining about your partner, complaining about your car, your situation. You start complaining about how everyone around you just doesn't understand. And the truth is that maybe you don't understand yourself, because if you truly understood yourself and you truly were working on these issues and actually facing them and actually alchemizing them, alchemizing the fear, alchemizing the pain, and acting on your intuition, even though it's scary. If you were doing that, you wouldn't be in these situations. You wouldn't be in these relationships. You wouldn't have the car you have, and you wouldn't be struggling in the way that you are, right? It is this. Now, very often we can be victims of external circumstance. Don't get me wrong. I think you understand by what I'm discussing that that is not what we're talking about. We are really not just talking about escapism and escaping responsibility, but on a bigger level, this spiritual bypassing is when we have a lot of work to do, especially spiritually, especially on ourselves, that we just don't trust ourselves to accomplish. And so we do everything we can to not. And this is a huge, huge, huge issue in society. And through all that flippant stuff, we're going to come to the next section of the video, which is a little deeper. I don't want to be flippant about this because this topic is something that is very difficult. It's near and dear to my heart, and it's something that I have experience in personally and witnessing people around me. And a lot of people on the internet in certain spiritual groups are dealing with this really, I think, dangerous situation, which is substance abuse and escapism through deep spirituality, through ungrounded and psychosis levels of New Age spirituality and other things such as that. Now, this form of escapism is very dangerous because obviously younger people or anybody who are predisposed to maybe things like different psychotic disorders or, people who have addictive tendencies, these people or young people who are, scrolling, there is a lot of rabbit holing here where these people who are predisposed to these maybe mental illnesses or having a weakness for being attracted to these kind of topics, this level of escapism it becomes dangerous, right? So there's a lot of people who are using drugs, using things that used to be used for just sacred rituals in certain ancient cultures. These things, these substances that are so powerful, it can absolutely transform your mind. There are people, a lot of people, young people who are trying their best to get out of their mundane life, whether it's just the fact that it's mundane and they're trying to find excitement or something to feel alive, or they genuinely think that this is the fix for all their problems, right? They're seeing all of these people on the internet who are saying, yes, ayahuasca changed my life. It solved all of my problems. It told me so much about myself. And although this can be the case for some people, I think the commodification, the fact that so many younger people and so many people are, so many Westerners are thinking that this is the thing that they need to consume a bunch of mushrooms on a regular basis to truly understand this reality. And the truth is that is simply escapism for a lot of these people, right? And in the same vein, not just drug usage, but also escaping through really interesting spiritual concepts like, extraterrestrials and starseeds and cult-like situations like the twin flame universe or any of these kind of very fascinating, very unique spiritual beliefs and practices. And very oftentimes these are based around narcissistic qualities, and that's going to be a different video topic. For this, I really just want to talk about escapism. It's a big deal. And on top of this, if you're predisposed to different psychotic disorders, or you have, you are ungrounded in any way, you don't have the stability, or maybe you don't have the support when you are dealing with rabbit holing or drug usage, spiritual drug usage even, like if you are trying to increase your spirituality by consuming substances, some people are becoming psychotic. This is this spiritual psychosis, and I can promise you that is a big deal. That is something that happens. Spirituality should be grounded, right? We're here for a reason. We're embodied for a reason. We are not here in our bodies to escape our bodies. We are not here rooted on the earth to only use our third eye and crown chakras and regularly be communing with beings that other people can't see, listening to beings that other people can't hear, and using that to dictate our life and our purpose. We're here to connect. We're here to care about our body, to nourish ourselves, to nourish our minds, and to connect with other humans so that we can evolve society, right? This is a true thing. And in starseeds, I believe there is something going on. I personally, I'll put it out there, I believe in extraterrestrials, but I don't fully understand it. I don't think that this is what I have been called to share with you. And I also have a deep understanding that so much of spirituality is given to us not to escape and not to just be out of our minds, but it's for us to truly integrate the experience and learn the wisdom from it and ground it in this present reality. I think that's something that's missing for a lot of starseeds. If I were to say that I'm a starseed, I do receive messages. I do receive wisdom from my guides, from spirit, from Christ. I do receive this messaging. And I deeply, deeply am aware that it is my duty, my purpose, and my calling to ground it back down, to make sure my feet are planted and that I can share and express the wisdom, the deep wisdom that we are here to embody and to experience. And on such a great level, I want you to understand that we are not called to run away or escape from this life, from our body, from this world. So many of us are fearful of the responsibility, are fearful of the experience that we're having. So many of us wish we were somewhere else, wish we could do something else, and we escape through video games, through scrolling on social media, through maybe reading, which isn't bad, right? I can learn a lot through reading. You can learn a lot anywhere, honestly. But when it starts becoming this really ungrounded, dogmatic situation where you are losing connection with reality and you're losing connection with your family, with your friends, and with what it means to be a human being, then we've dropped the ball, we've lost the point, we've lost the plot. And that is heartbreaking for me. I've seen many people lose their minds, and I hate that I have firsthand experience with that, but I can tell you it is scary. It is worrisome, and spirituality is real. It doesn't have to be this dogmatic situation. It doesn't have to be that you know better. If a being is telling you that you know better than everyone in your family and they just don't understand and you need to cut the connection, that is your own psyche. That is your ego. That is your need for safety and security, wanting you to stay in your comfort zone. And you are trying to escape responsibility for yourself, and not just responsibility for yourself, but you are trying to escape suffering that you perceive in your personal life right now. And I know for a fact that a lot of people who are dealing with this, when they hear my words, they are probably not in a state of mind where they can receive it, because they are probably forcibly pushing everyone away because they just don't understand. And I've been there, and it is a scary, isolating place. When I was in dark situations where the people around me were, simply put, in a state of spiritual psychosis, the pain, the fear, the visceral fear, it's palpable. These people who are trying to be spiritual leaders while thinking that they have all the answers and thinking that the veil has been lifted for them and them alone, and now it's their duty to share. This comes with a level of selfishness, of arrogance, self-righteousness, and of a lack of empathy. And so strongly, I am very sensitive. So strongly, there's a sense of deep fear stemming from the core of these people. And it might not seem that way. They seem really proud, they seem really sure of themselves, but I can promise you, I have felt it, I have seen it. All of this arrogance and escapism and overconsumption of substances and doing the weird, deep, dark cult-like practices that are so specific and mathematic and anything like that, or anything that just isn't making sense, that you can't comprehend if you aren't experiencing it, any of that stuff is just a mask covering up the ego's deep fear. Such a deep fear. And it's not just a fear of death, it is deeper. It is a fear that they don't actually have anything that they need in this life. It's hard to really put into words, but if I had to explain it, it is the ego fully embodied, fighting itself. Because if you changed the things in your life that you were afraid of, if you took ownership for the things in your life that you're afraid of, your ego doesn't know what's coming after that. Your ego doesn't know how to let you. How do you let yourself do the work? Face your fears. Because for a lot of people, it's too scary. It's too scary to seek real connection, because then you're going to feel vulnerable. It's too scary to do the same spiritual practices that other people around you are, because you're meant for something different. You're meant for something bigger. You could never be like them. When we take on this role as a spiritual guru, as an important spiritual teacher, and we lose our groundedness with the earth, we unroot ourselves and we put all of our focus on our crown, on our third eye, and on our throat chakra, right? When we stay in the higher chakras, if that's the wording you want to use, again, everything is metaphor. This life is a story. All right. Whew. It wasn't me that winked, so I don't know who's trying to talk to you there, love, but Spirit's speaking. Spirit's speaking, and Spirit is always speaking. Spirit is speaking on the breeze. Spirit is speaking as you walk. Spirit is speaking as you go about your day-to-day life, as you cook yourself food and nourish your body, as you drink your coffee, as you spend time with your family and your friends, and then you have conversations about what you noticed that day, and you have understandings about how you can develop as a person. Spirit is speaking in those moments. Now, when extraterrestrials come and visit you in the middle of the day, as you're just high, pulling your cards and working with your crystals and trying to create a deep, intense energy grid, and you're trying to commune with the dark goddess while you are, drinking a specific tea that you made with your own menstrual blood to do something, just remember, very often, it's our ego pulling those strings. Very often, it is our own psyche tricking us into not taking responsibility for ourselves. Because the biggest fear we have as humans is to recognize that we are truly greater than we believe we are, that we are truly alchemists. And the biggest disconnect between the spiritual psychosis and the truth of spirituality is that some of us want to be the master, and some of us, which is a control issue, it's an ego control issue, and some of us want to learn, which is the process, not the destination, of self-mastery. So, I hope you recognize what I mean. This video is a long time coming in my journey. A long time coming, and what this video is me facing my fears that I still have, about sharing my story, about sharing what I've learned. And what I've learned is not from my 4-month spiritual journey and what I learned. It is over a decade of trauma, drama, experience, what I've learned, the information I've gained, the wisdom I've gained, on top of, the like spiritual and self-development practices that I've gained, and the near decade of reading tarot and understanding the archetypes, and having an understanding of astrology, of energy, being a sensitive and an empath for my whole life. I am here to share this with you because Spirit has sent you a hero, a miracle worker who is here to make all your decisions for you and make sure that you come out the other side whole and balanced and strong and resilient and ready to take on your purpose. And that hero is you. It's you. Put down the blunt. Put it down. Now, if you're just relaxing after a long day at work, I can't make your decisions for you. But if it's 10 a.m. and it's your third one, and you today so far have only watched a video that was a channeled message from Orion, and you refuse to communicate with anyone in your family because they just don't understand you because of their Christian background, and you lost your third job because you just don't have to work. You don't feel like you have to work. I don't have to. It's not what I'm here for. I'm here for a higher purpose. You guys just wouldn't understand. But I implore you to call somebody who loves you and to plant your feet on the earth and to stay off the internet for the rest of the day and to drink a lot of water and make sure you're eating. Okay? Is it clear that I've had experience in this? I know this is a long one, and I know you've never seen me before, but stick around because this is your right. This information, this wisdom, it doesn't belong to me. It doesn't belong to me. It's not just mine. It's not because I'm so great. It's because it's your right. And Spirit said it's time that you know. It's time that you know. It's your right, and I love you.